Is want to like check your phone to see if it's live, and it says we're live. Hey, 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 y'all! If y'all hear me, let me know. We are back, and we are black. They shut us down. They don't like us much around here.
That's okay. That's okay.
God, so let me do
Slow
my
it down.
fancy schmancy thing, y'all, and we be back in a good 30 seconds. How about I was muted the whole time? That's all right. Hey, hey, hey. We are back and we are black, y'all. The devil is lying. Tonight, okay?
Every day.
The devil is lying. They tried to stop us, but we are here. Okay. Hey y'all. Let me put this phone down.
Hey.
Hey
Welcome
girl,
to
hey.
I am your host with the most, and we late. Petit Picasso, better known as Mommy, in this house because that's all they call me. That's all they know. And I got my man, 100 grand, my co-host, man full of wisdom and bars, Doc. What's up, Doc? How are
Oh,
you?
it's a great day. It's a great day. It's all right. Glad to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. And if y'all can see, we have a plethora of beautiful queens on our platform right now. We couldn't even keep them in the waiting room because the devil was like, keep them away. And God was like, put them on the screen so they here. Okay, so we're going to run through. Shout out to bro. He be the first one here. Shout out to the member. Hey, bro. Yo, man, you so dope. Like, he's always here. He always on time. He always supporting. So shout out to
I
you,
was messing with him earlier. I'm like, you a hood celebrity.
right?
Get stopped through the street.
So I'm gonna talk a little fast because we got so much information to cover and we got so much information to get from these two beautiful women right here. Uh Stacy got to go to work. Tiana probably take a nap or like love up on her husband.
Don't put my
You know
life
what I'm
out
saying?
there
Doc,
like
he
that. What if
off
somebody waiting for
tomorrow.
me at my job and you tell them I gotta go to work? They be like, oh, she gonna leave here at what time? Well, we gotta.
Baby girl in the back crooked, fix her. That's my painting in the back. Stacy, she jacked me for one of my paintings. It's not even finished.
Don't tell. That's a lie. Don't tell
So we
people
She's
I
go
feeling
still.
immense. She feeling immense. That's why
She
she's a
gonna
little
leave here at
twisted.
what time? Don't tell people I still. That's not right. Don't
she
tell
didn't.
people my
She didn't.
secrets.
She kindly borrowed, but
No, I'm not giving it back. Borrow means I'm giving it back. I'm not giving it back.
so all right, y'all. We gonna get right into it. As y'all know, boom! It's your spirit check with your girl. It's me, petite,
Can you pick a different
petite.
picture? Why you gotta
I
look
cannot,
bad? Like,
because I was cute that day. My list was suited. All right, I'm gonna change it. You can take a picture. Stacey's a photographer, but anyway, as we always do, guys, we do our spirit check. Y'all see my spirit. I'm on 100 trillion billion. Okay. If y'all been
as
watching this show
always.
since last year, and this is fact. I told my best friend that I was so hype about this show, and I gave her Tiana's name. She was like, "Girl, you been trying to get hold of the show since last year." So my excitement is on another level right now. So I'll pass the mic. Doc, how's your spirit?
My spirit is good. I'm excited. All things positive. Just kind of pressing forward. It's my Friday. I'm off the next 2 days, so I got some great things planned. Get some things done, and moving on from there. Looking forward to the show, and let's get it.
Absolutely. Pass the mic to our first guest, Miss Tiana Brown. How is your spirit this evening?
I'm tired.
I know. Keep it
I
real
don't want
up
people to
here.
think I'm high, but I'm just tired. And
Sleep.
so
Girl.
I have not been smoking anything. I haven't been drinking, but I'm still here and I'm present and I'm going to be very much a part of this conversation, tired and all.
And if she did any of those things, that's her business. We don't do judgment on here. Like, don't nobody come on, mind your business. Cause we get into
Real
conversation
quick.
about God and
Real
everything.
Mhm.
quick.
Like, come on,
Right.
don't do that. So we passed the mic, baby sis. How's your spirit?
My spirit
Is she
is
late?
it's all right. I'm chilling. I
Is
got
she
to eat a little bit of my food. I did my oh yeah. Whoa.
late?
No. All right, no, my spirit is chilling. My spirit is chilling. I had a crazy kind of day yesterday. So to come home and be able to pass out and not have to do nothing for a couple of hours is good.
It's all good.
Um I'm going back tonight. Even after some text messages I received that I was kind of like meh about like whatever. But I already know what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. So once you make that up in your mind, it's no longer, you ain't got to hold on to it. So my day is going good.
And you know,
And yeah, I had me a sip and I
I
had
know
me a
that's right,
puff.
Stacey will tell you.
I had me a sip and I had me a puff. That's my business. I was a good parent today. And that's
Yep,
how I treat my trauma and
yep.
treat myself.
On
So
fact,
mind
on
yours.
fact. Yep,
Okay?
that's
Mind
how we
it.
do it. Yep, judge
Get you
yourself.
some business, as Butter would say. Get you some business.
Business that pay you. Shout out to Butter, my best friend, the one
Yep.
that was like, "You been trying to get her on the show," but okay, y'all. So our spirits are in check. If y'all want us to know what y'all spirit like, please drop it in the comments. I see the viewers are coming in, the comments is coming through. So we're gonna jump right to it. And what do we jump into?
News you can use.
Hey,
Bam, bam,
I
bam.
promise you, I'm going to get you some music, Doc. You need like this thorough intro, like
You know,
it's
you got
That's
to get
it.
the news reporter music, like you know, something like that, like some Inspector Gadget music or something. You know.
what we
We're
got.
gonna get something. We're gonna get something.
What we got, Doc.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to start with the happy juice, with the stimulus checks. Initially, when the third stimulus checks came out, there was a rider on the bill that's saying that if you had any creditors, that they could snatch your 1,400 and you might not get it. The Senate Democrats have introduced a bill yesterday to protect the third stimulus from any creditors that you may have. So that should go through. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but trust me, they are working on it to make sure everybody get all their money so they can kind of keep going with that. You may or may not heard that, excuse me, a man was arrested outside Auntie Kamala's house.
Mm-mm.
He had a rifle. He had some ammunition in his car. Police report obtained by CNN shows officer alleged Mr. Murray was in possession of an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, 113 rounds of unregistered ammunition, and 530-round magazines.
Mm,
And guess what?
mm.
He
What?
was taken into custody.
Mm.
I know
So
that's
they
right.
locked. Oh, good. Thank God. They finally
Yeah,
locking these
well,
people the hell up. Like
well, no, they
relax.
locking them up, but and he alive. That's the thing. As soon as you told me he was taken into custody, I knew he was white. Wasn't no doubt about that.
Listen, y'all better chill. Why you so mad at us?
Mm.
This is
Moving on to the next story.
Wait,
all
hold
right.
up.
I'm gonna put a
Hold
pin
hold
in it,
up.
Doc, because you be getting me worked up. All right, Doc, come on. What we go next?
Next we go on to Hotlanta. Go on
Yeah.
to
I had to fix
Hotlanta.
some shirt. I had
21.
to fix some shirts. I'm already
Oh
mad.
gosh, 21-year-old killed 8 Asians at 3 different massage parlors. Said he had a sex addiction and saw the massage parlors as temptation. He attacked 3 spas where he was a regular customer. The police made a statement that Aaron Long, who shot up 3 massage parlors and killed 8 Asians, was having a bad day.
Oh, I'm glad you said it because I was ready to sit up here and go on that. Mm.
The attacks on the Asian community have been up and around this country for quite some time. There was a rally held here in Philadelphia in Chinatown that announced the violence against Asians. Over 150 people attended. City Council members David O. and Helen Ginn attended. Um, but keep in mind, this is all part of this, white supremacists. It's not just, people of color. It's Asians, anybody that don't look like them. Backlash is going to have a ripple effect for quite some time.
Mm.
As you may or may not know, they're doing jury selection for the Derek Chauvin trial. He's a police officer that had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I reported, I think, on Tuesday that when they were going back and forth with the lawyers, that they felt as though the city releasing that Floyd family had received a $27 million settlement um, would taint some of the jurors,
Wait, say
basically
that
thinking
again.
that
Say that
what
again. I'm
happens.
sorry.
What happened is the news story came out that George Floyd's family was awarded $27 million. So now, as they're questioning jurors, they feel as though it was done purposely to influence the jurors.
Mm,
Influence the jurors because if you know that there's a $27 million settlement and you're on the jury, when it comes time to sentence him, you may say, "Oh, he got 27 million, so therefore you might not feel so bad and letting him go."
mm.
Now they did excuse. What happened is they did pick some jurors, but what they did is they brought them back. They were picked before the press release came out, before they announced the 27 million. And they brought one man back and they asked him, did you hear, since you were selected as a juror, did you hear about the $20 million settlement? He said yes. And the judge asked him, do you think you could be, knowing that information, did you read the article? Would that have changed your view? Do you feel as though you could remain impartial on this jury? He said he felt as though he read the article. I mean, he saw the headline, $27 million given to George Floyd's family as a settlement. He said he saw that as the city of Minneapolis trying to right a wrong. Like the city knew they were wrong. And this is their attempt to fix it. So at that point, he felt as though he could not be impartial, and the judge excused him from the case. So they're still going through jury selection. That's going to take a while. I think the jury is set to, the trial is actually supposed to start, I think, the 29th of this month.
I want to see what the hold up is. Y'all already saw what he did. He already committed murder on camera. So what are we holding up this whole jury selection for, or even the trial? What are we waiting for? What?
We're waiting for justice. We've been waiting for justice since they dragged our black asses over here. Rodney King was 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, I'm tired of waiting.
And we've seen this before, and we know how it ends. But I'm telling you, you remember all the protests and everything with George Floyd, Black Lives Matter,
Mm-hmm.
You think that was something? You let that cop walk.
But they're gonna burn another police district down there, and I don't feel bad.
No, a whole bunch of people gonna be off.
I might join in. You never know.
Right.
With the way these flights is working, might
Right.
be on the first thing smoking, baby.
She hear it? Okay, there she go.
Right. So moving right along.
No, I got her. She's still in there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
Update on the COVID vaccines. They feel as though 12% of Pennsylvania have been vaccinated. The governor of Pennsylvania feels as though 70% of Pennsylvania needs to be vaccinated before they fully reopen anything in the state of Pennsylvania. So that's going to take a while. Philly gun violence update. To date, there are 104 homicides. Out of the 412 that have been shot, 40 of them have been under 18 years old. You may have heard of Rodney Hargrove, 20-year-old man gunned down less than 45 minutes from being released from prison. He was in jail less than a week. His father bailed him out. He was released 1 o'clock in the morning. He was waiting for somebody to pick him up. Car pulls up, guys get out of the car. They literally trace him back on prison grounds. Over 10 shots fired. The guard said they heard the shot, but if you're going back on prison grounds, there's usually a guard station right there at the gate.
Yeah, so y'all let him get shot, or was that a setup? Was it an inside job?
It reeks of a setup. It definitely reeks of a setup. Because here, this brother,
it is a setup. We're just gonna call it what it is. Call a spade a spade.
Right. This brother just got released from prison. So guys pull up in the car, either he know he didn't know. He start running back to the prison, runs through the gate. They pursue him, shoot him, and then take off.
And they got through the gate. You know what, Bob? What's the next one, Doc?
Next one is SEPTA safety. There are calls for the SEPTA police chief to resign. There have been violent attacks on SEPTA employees, SEPTA passengers. The SEPTA's transit workers union, accused SEPTA police chief of not protecting riders and transit workers, leading to understaffed police force and not properly charging violent offenders. They also were looking to shut down the Somerset station on the Market Frankfurt L because of the crime and the robbery, that type of thing. I'm
all for that. They definitely do. I'm all for that.
Well, that ain't the only one they should shut down. They need to shut down, the Kensington Allegheny station, a couple of them.
What's that?
They just breathed.
Huntington Station.
Fairmont one. Don't they got two Fairmont stops? Like one is
Fairmont is not that bad, but Huntington Park, Somerset. That's Huntington Park. Somerset. what is it? Summer Henderson Park, Somerset's another one that's real creepy that they just need to let go. It first of all, they're old and dilapidated. I like that part, but as far as how people can go up there and offend you or hurt you and do something, that's just too much. If y'all not gonna watch these stations, then shut them down.
Right. Pretty much. Pretty much.
That's true. That's very true.
Because people
Um,
have the need to feel safe, and I don't see why they shouldn't feel safe. They're taking public transportation. That means it should be public safety around these places.
very true.
Right. And the other thing on SEPTA is basically it is a homeless heaven because they just camp out on the subways. They just stretch out. You cannot find a seat anywhere. They're on the subways. They're on the L all day, all night. That's their home, especially if it's like cold outside or whatever. And they bring their bags and their food and whatever it is. It's really getting out of control. And I'm not sure, what, if anything, the SEPTA police chief says he's not resigning. But I think as pressure kind of goes on, I think something's going to have to happen at that point.
Absolutely. What we got next, Doc?
Not last but not least, and we don't want to get in people's business, but I think this kind of leads into possibly some of what we talked about on here. It's the situation. It's the Kirk Franklin family affair. Apparently, Kirk Franklin and his son was having an argument, to which his son decided it got heated, and his son decided to post it. Once again, this is family business. This is we are none of us are perfect. We fall way short of what God wants us to be. We tend to idolize celebrities, politicians, and other people in many ways, and we often a lot of people just want to see them as perfect. We follow them, we want to dress like them, we kind of pattern our lives after them, that type of thing. But what works for them don't necessarily work for us. This is not the Cosby Show where families don't get into heated arguments, physical fights, and the children never get disciplined. There was an interview with Kirk Franklin giving his side of the story. He said that he had been having some struggling with his child for quite some time. His son is now a grown ass man, 33 years old, and he's been disrespecting him and trying to, do whatever he could. Kirk Franklin also mentioned that after that heated argument, Kirk Franklin called a therapist, but of course his son didn't air that interaction at that point.
Of course not.
So it's just one of those things where one of the things I asked Dr. Holly when you seek a therapist is the relationship between therapist and I guess their client, I don't want to say patient, but is that confidential? And she says it remains confidential unless she feels that you feel as though that person is a harm to themselves or anyone else. And I think a lot of us probably could also kind of, use that restraint as well, because as we deal with friends, family, that type of thing, is, a lot goes on at that point in time. So it's just one of those things that we just kind of press on. Family's family. They're going to be arguments. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be, back and forth between son and dad and mom, that whole type of thing. But it's all part of the growing. And just pray for this Franklin family and their healing and well-being.
Yes, absolutely. Hold on, cause I gotta
I
end
feel
it with
like
the.
this shouldn't fall on SEPTA, but our city as well as much money, but well
Hold
as
on, I
much
gotta.
money.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
wanted
sorry,
What
I
you
shouldn't,
got,
I
Andrew?
shouldn't be
No,
reading
no,
out
I wanted
loud.
to read that comment because I had to end it. Bam! That was the news you needed.
But to speak on the Kirk Franklin thing, I feel as though people like everybody's chastising him. Oh my God, he cursed. Some of y'all curse, please. Let's not do that. Let's not emphasize on this man cursing. He is human, along with being Christian. There are some cursing Christians out here that I know of that will sit up there and swear by the Bible and everything else, but let you make them mad, and you gonna hear a couple choice phrases. So getting mad because this man cursed, please. I need everybody to grow up and stop being so damn sensitive.
What?
Shit.
Who would
Miss,
cuss?
you see I put damn and shit in there. Stop being so damn sensitive. Shit.
Listen, the thing
Like,
about it is we're always judging each other. Like none of us is perfect. God knew we would not be perfect. We are the blind leading the blind. So we about to get these interviews together popping. I'm hyped. Thank y'all for staying. Thank y'all for coming. We got some beautiful. I can't sing, but whatever. If you in the comments, y'all know how I feel about the music breaks. I'm a fake DJ. Even my panel guests, put it in the chat if y'all want to hear something during the music break, your favorite song
oh, all right. I see it
or
now. I
whatever. So
see
I
it. I see
definitely
it.
play
I
it
see it. I
for you
see it. I
guys.
see
So
it.
as you guys know, like I said, if y'all been with us since the beginning, okay,
The
I had
beginning.
the beginning. I have been speaking about this young, beautiful woman since last year. And the craziest thing, we found out that our cousins were marrying each other, which was so awesome because her cousin is so awesome. And I love my cousin so much. So shout out to El Divinity and Eric Williams. Hey cousins. But this young lady, we actually went to high school together, and she wrote a book called Please Don't Touch Me There. Do y'all see that? And when I saw this, not even the cover, when I heard the name, I said, you know what, Doc? And I was telling Doc, I said, listen, Doc, the young lady wrote this book. This is the title, and we need her on here because that is an awesome title. It's a very relevant subject, if you will. And it's also actually someone doing a whole campaign on human trafficking and all of that, and how it's I am calm, I am centered because I'm ready. And this beautiful young lady has a story. So everybody, please, I promise y'all I'm gonna get some clapping sounds. But everybody, please welcome Miss Tiana Brown, the beautiful, beautiful Miss Tiana Brown. Yes, thank you, Stacey. Stacey's a great clapper.
My
Thank you,
hands are loud.
Queen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, and thanks so much for having me. I truly appreciate being here this evening.
Yes, thank you for coming. I'm hyped. She finally here, yo. Okay, how are you? How are you, Queen?
I am doing well. I am doing well. As I said earlier, I'm just a little
I know
tired.
that's right. So we're gonna try to get the people to know
No, it's
you.
fine just so they know, because and again,
Yes.
it's not that, it's nothing wrong with people getting high, but when I show up to do things, I like to show up.
Yes.
And so if I feel or look as if, what is she doing? Did she have other things to do? It was just a nap, but I'm gonna hold off on a nap and
Okay.
get into this conversation first.
Yes, they are. They loving you. Your sisters in the comments like she is shouting you out. She on all passes.
Yes,
Okay.
I love Ira. I love her. Very, very powerful woman. And if she hasn't been on your show,
Well,
please, please,
you're
she
more
it
than welcome.
I don't even want to, I can't even tell you
What's
all of
she
her
doing? What's sis
story.
doing? She can come on my
But
show. What's she
she is
doing?
amazing. She is definitely an activist, a
Mhm.
survivor of sexual abuse. And I like to let people tell their own personal story. But when I met her, she came and spoke to the young girls I was mentoring, and it was usually when you're dealing with young women and you bring somebody in, they're kind of like, yeah, we could be doing other things because they're not familiar with them. But
Right.
not a soul spoke when she spoke. And
Mm,
when she was finished, they had their hands up. They're like, oh my God, how did that happen to you? And she just is inspiring. And I really appreciate and love her. And to my husband, I did see you as well. So I love you too. Thanks so much for being supportive and
Oh.
logging on for me. I appreciate
yes.
that.
Yeah, shout out to her husband. And I hope I get a chance. Oh, there he is in the comments. I didn't even realize that was her husband.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a chance to tell y'all this story, and it's so relevant for right now with gun violence in the situation that happened with her husband, and it was
Mm.
just the part he said. I seen it on Law and Order. It
Yes.
touches my heart, but I love that story. So, thank you for coming, husband. Tiana's husband. He's so dope. They are
Yes.
so black love everywhere, like real black love. You don't never see. Nobody knows if your marriage is perfect or whatever. It don't show. She don't be putting her
It's
business.
not,
But and that's what
but
I
that's what
mean.
makes it
Yep,
perfect, because
yep.
most people like to lie about marriages, and I think it's unhealthy because you have all these people who get married under this this, I guess, fairy tale from Snow White to Cinderella. Like somebody's gonna give
Mm.
you an apple, you bite it, wake up with the prince. It's not gonna happen. So if people will be more honest and say, you gonna go through some shit, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna teach you how to go through some shit, and I'm gonna tell you what people to eliminate from your life, because if they're not here to support your marriage, mom, dad, cuz, it doesn't matter, because when you come in a union with that person, you need support. So I wish when we were getting married we had those kind of people. So what we try to do is be the honest couple to say, hey, we divorced each other 1,000 times in our head, but we work it out because it's hard work.
Absolutely. And people need to want to do the work and stop trying to force the other person. Like, no, it's you need to fix this, you need to fix that.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
50-50 thing. We all have to do the work. And your husband said marriage is not perfect. Let me see, because my marriage is not perfect, but the husband is perfect. Doc,
Yes. You
Doc,
know
what you got
what?
to say about that? Because you're the only man on here, Doc. See,
Right.
Doc said,
like touching
Doc
it.
said, I'm not gonna put my hand in that
No,
fire.
see what
Don't
it
put my
is.
OG in it.
It's a work in progress, and it's a
Don't put
team
my
effort.
OG in it. Don't put my OG
Hmm.
It's
in
just
it.
one of those. Well, you just got to work out and find that happy medium. Like you said, you divorce
Yes.
him 50 times a day, and
Yes.
quite sure he feels the same way and goes back and forth.
Exactly.
But like they say on In Living Color, and they still together.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Good,
Because
Yep.
good
you know,
answer,
over
Doc. I
time,
love that. I gotta give
Hmm.
you a hand for that, brother, because you left each other.
listen,
Gotta
you
give you
better
that.
pack
Gotta
your
give you
stuff and
that.
go to sleep.
Hmm.
What you
Pack
mean?
your
I
stuff
touch
and
you
go
all
to
the time.
sleep.
Because we don't argue, we have like intense conversations. That's what we call them. You
Hmm.
pack your shit and
Y'all
go to
was arguing. Like, sis, tell us what it was. Y'all was
stay intense
arguing, and he
conversation.
probably won, and you was mad.
He can pack his stuff and go to
But
sleep.
no, one
He
thing
ain't
I
gotta
will
sit on.
say,
I ain't one of
one
them. You go sleep on the couch. No,
one
go
thing
to
I will say, I like what she said
take a
though.
nap.
The whole because I was talking to somebody before, and I was telling him, it was a friend of mine. He's going through some marital issues. I've never been married because I've seen other people married, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'm really ready. But
Mm,
one thing I noticed that people don't do how they have issues and problems is like their foundation. I'm not even talking about like money. I'm talking about as far as like the foundation of them. Like some people fall in love with the person that they married, but they don't even really anticipate the person that they're going to become. So it's like I read this thing that I keep with me, and I always say, you do not get in a relationship with the person. You get in a relationship with that person and the evolution of that person. So as
Hmm.
long as you keep that, I feel as though you'll be good. But yeah, it ain't for the weak.
big
It ain't
thing,
for the weak.
sis.
It ain't for the
Sis
weak.
better come through
Like,
with them preachings. It ain't always
listen,
perfect. It ain't always got
listen.
to be
I
perfect
read.
and
I be.
clean.
I read a lot of different. Like when I'm doing some of these things or talking to people and all this stuff and having different conversations, like Doc
Mm,
does. I research everything. So I'm
mm,
researching it from a black point of view, a white point of view,
Hmm.
Mexican point of. Like I'm looking up all these different writers and journalists that are writing things about relationships. And the
Right.
main thing I say is like we don't, as far as in our culture, we fall in love with what we have at that moment, but we don't understand that that might change. Are you
right.
going to be okay for the change? Are you going to be down for the change? Are you going to ride with that change? Because this person ain't going to stay 20 forever. This person ain't going to stay 30
Hmm.
forever.
That's
Like
Well, I
they
want
going
to add this that I think a lot of times that people are putting so much emphasis on their partner and not on themselves.
mm,
There are people who are getting with people expecting them to make them happy, expecting them to heal the trauma for their
yes.
past,
mm,
expecting them to just all of a sudden magically make their finances better.
mm,
If
Right.
you aren't solid within yourself, you just take a mess to a mess. It's just going to be messy. And people have not understood that. Say if I go to marriage counseling, I'm not going for him, I'm going for me. And then they
Right.
may have me going to individual counseling because I knew I was messed up to begin with. So, of course, everybody grows. That's the hope. I hope people hope that they're growing in their personal life and their relationship. But you really have to get to know yourself because what ends up happening, you didn't know yourself, so you're not even lying. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
really know you. You was just
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the superficial, but now when you with somebody 24 hours, this is the things you can't hide. The honeymoon phase, it goes away, and now you have to be present and say, you know what? I really didn't want to be married because I don't even like people. I don't want to live with nobody. No, some people, their truth will come
Girl,
out, and it's like you
mm.
got to deal with yourself
why
so
she
you
reading?
know who
Yeah.
I'm getting with.
I'm
If
looking around my room
so
since
they
you
can
got a
know who they
microphone in my
getting
room. Did
with.
you hear what I was talking
Yeah.
about? No, I'm looking around my room like, did she be listening to my conversation? It's like, because that's one thing I did say. I said, I want to live apart from my husband. I don't know. I may sound
Hmm.
wrong for saying that, but we can live in this. Maybe we can have different wings. I can have a wing. He can
Right.
have a wing. We meet in the middle. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
told my husband that we should have houses that connect, and when I put the latch on, you can't come over because I don't want to be bothered.
Oh
right?
I
man.
told him that didn't work, but I did put it out there.
I
It
could
was an option. It was an
It
option.
was an
Take or leave
option.
it.
Listen,
Hey, I'm trying to help you out. Maybe need a little
Right.
space.
I'm saying, bro, you might want me to have this other side because when Aunt Doc come to visit, I'm a different person. So maybe I should have a side to myself and you
right.
keep your
Right.
side, and then I come
Mm-hmm.
over
But see, this
and
is the
you
thing.
know,
Men have man caves. We need a whole nother side. We need
Yeah. Yeah.
the man caves in the basement. We need a
Yeah.
whole nother side. I don't even want
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it every year.
Yeah.
hmm
You know?
I want the whole like if you're gonna have the basement, I want the whole second floor, like
Yes.
the whole second floor could be mine. We can share. You can come in the bedroom every now and again. You can
Mm-hmm.
have your room in there, but like I mean, yeah, like you know,
And
I know
Ira,
I sound crazy. I don't care.
please
Mm-hmm.
do. I want to. Ira said something very interesting. She said, "I know I brought luggage, hell of storage full of trauma into my marriage."
Yeah, I don't know if
That's
you read her
beautiful.
comment before, and she shared with everybody that she had a
Yes,
child with her father. So
yes. I
that's
want
why I
to
said she
go
has
back.
quite a powerful story.
Yes.
Mm,
So
mm.
listen, Ira. I think I put the we contact us. We
Mm-hmm.
I already hit her up in I already hit her up in the comments. So
yes.
Yes.
she
Stacy, one thing about like if Stacy has somebody on and she know she be like, sis, look, I had X, Y, and Z, or I
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. So if once you go to her first, you can come here however it go. We want
Right.
everybody to know your story. And I thank you for sharing that in the comments. That shows so much strength because that is something we know for a fact. Okay. If you was
Mm-hmm.
born from the 80s back, okay, 70s, all that from the 80s back, had you said that, nobody would have known that. Your baby would have been down south with somebody, and it would have been a whole bunch of something. Like
Mhm.
nobody would have
Mm-hmm.
ever
Mhm.
known that. So I
Yes.
respect you, Queen, for saying that, and you are so strong just for
Yes.
saying that. Like that's just
Just
mad
for putting it
crazy.
out there and for people
Yes.
that you don't know. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And just to kind of segue into your book, Tiana, please don't touch me there. And it's something, guys, I want y'all to know this is not the only book that Tiana has written, and I'm putting her information at the bottom of the screen. She is the author of 5 books with 2 award-winning titles. Ain't No Sunshine. Okay, I like that too. I love that. And of course, please don't touch me there. So could you just tell us a little bit of the inspiration on well, who was first? Ain't No Sunshine is your baby, if I'm not
Yes,
yeah,
that's
I knew you
definitely my
said that.
baby.
Yes.
Yes.
What
Mm-hmm.
was the inspiration for Ain't No Sunshine and Please Don't Touch Me There? And also
Mm-hmm.
to everybody, the reason why I have Tiana and Stacy here, Stacy has a podcast called The Art of Conversation. Y'all know I like to play with words. Book
Yeah.
called Please Don't Touch Me There. Stacy has a podcast called The Art of Conversation. We got to talk to our kids about this, and it's
Mm-hmm.
some details that Tiana got in her book. It's like we gonna get into it, but could you just tell us what inspired you to write those things? And Stacy, if you want to
Sure.
chime in, like what would be your conversation? You know what I mean? What would be like a key conversation to have
Of course. Of
um
course.
in that situation? So Tiana, I'm gonna put you up on full
Sure.
screen and
Okay.
yeah, just tell us what was the inspiration for Ain't No Sunshine and
Mm-hmm.
Don't Touch Me.
So growing up in that time period, as you said, being an 80s baby, growing up in a time period where molestation wasn't talked about, neglect and abuse wasn't talked about during it, also the crack pandemic with my parents were on drugs for 14 plus years. So it was at a point where I realized in my family, this was a generational curse. Communication was not the first tool that you use to heal.
Mm,
You didn't have that tool. It was just not a
Mm.
tool in a toolbox. So I looked around and I watched. I said, everybody is basically holding on to all their pain. I'm one of 10. My mother has 10 kids
mm,
from her own vagina. So when you're growing up with so many people and you start to open your eyes and you just see none of us are talking about what we're going through, but we're all going through similar things. And so one of the gifts my mom did give me was that she wrote everything down, which to me used to be so crazy because when I was a teen mom high in my pregnancy, She wrote me a letter and said, I have all these kids. If you don't think that I know you're pregnant, then you're crazy.
Yes, mommy love.
Right?
Yeah,
But
she got 10 kids. How you
she
trying to hide
got
that?
10 kids. But
Right.
in my head, I'm hiding it because you ain't saying nothing. So we all doing our regular thing of not
Yes.
saying anything. But then she came with the pen and paper. And so I just always used to journal. I used to journal.
Mm.
And so I just decided to take that journal when I started doing groups with my siblings, and we call them the Expression Zone. I end up starting a nonprofit in that way, where I figured, like, how can we get together and talk about the things that we're uncomfortable with talking about? And being in that group, it was painful because you find out that not only you're sharing things, like I share with them, I was molested, to find out that friends and siblings were as well. But again, this is something that was not being talked about. We weren't getting the treatment we needed. And so I realized that I kind of wanted to kill the person inside of me that had just went through so much shit.
Mm.
And I was like, how do I release it? And writing became my outlet. So that's how Ain't No Sunshine came to life. I just needed that person to die. And I'm not a fan of fairy tales. So I just realized in real life, when I look around, not saying that blessings don't happen and things can't be beautiful, I just realized when you make certain decisions and choices, those consequences don't come with the gumdrops and the sunflowers. They come with the rain, the hailstorm, and the thunder, and sometimes a casket. So I wanted to give people the truth. So then we're making better choices and also understanding our resources, our networks, what we can do to get better to make those better choices.
Mm.
I
That's
know that's right. You
deep.
better speak,
Yes. Yes.
okay?
So, and with that, so Stacey, I will ask you, like she said, we have to make that decision to make better choices, and we know it's hard, to have those conversations. We come from the era of do as I say and not as I do, but I feel like right now we're in the era as do as I say. You see what I'm doing, don't do what it's like a bunch of fuckery,
Yeah,
kerfuffle, as Judge Judy would call it.
Mhm.
It's just going.
you in
It's
that
that
damn
I
word.
love that word kerfuffle. I have to find out what it means.
Please do. Because you're
but
always saying it.
but yeah, and I feel like that's what's going on right
I
now. So
mean,
because like what would be
a conversation.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so to like me, how I always say I like to kind of relate it to me. Um, Drea knows this. A lot of people that I don't know if anybody's watching this today. I know, but I have issues with with some of my parents, basically. Not really my mother, more so my father and his side of
Shout
the
out to
family.
Sharon, Mama.
So I had a conversation with him on Thanksgiving because he had not seen my sister for a year. My sister kind of like stopped, fucking with him. Hadn't seen him for a year. Wasn't speaking to him, and kind of the reason why she hadn't seen him is because of a remark he made about me. And me and my sister don't get along, but when it comes to other people fucking with me, she don't play that shit. So my dad was noticing the cold shoulder, and he was kind of noticing about that, and he even mentioned that. So it was like, I had a conversation with him that kind of lasted for a couple of days. And I told him, I said, my problem with him is that the fact that you don't listen. You don't listen. When people bring stuff to you, you automatically shut down and you automatically internalize like what I'm saying, like how like you're internalize what I'm saying, and you don't really receive the full message. Like, yeah, I'm saying that you did X, Y, and Z, and I'm mad about it. And all you hear is I did something wrong. Let me shut down. I don't know what to do because I don't want to have a conflict because I'm too, or I don't even want to have this discussion because it's leading into conflict or leading into a conversation that I'm not comfortable with. Us as parents, and even parents before us, grandparents too, if you are raising children right now in 2021, you need to shut the fuck up
That's
and
the FU.
listen.
That's
Listen.
the FU.
Listen. Just listen. Because the problem, the reason why suicide is up, and the reason why people are getting stereotyped or having these issues is because they don't have anybody to listen. All the time, a person doesn't want you always coming to them when they come to you I hate that person when you'll go to them like, oh, I'm going through so much. Girl, I know what you're talking about. Me too, because I had this happen and that happen. No, ma'am. I called you to vent. I didn't call to hear your story. I'm calling you to vent. So when it even comes to, you know, being abused or even being pregnant, like my mother, she didn't tell my grandparents right away that she was pregnant. But then once she had to basically tell my grandfather boohoo cried. But one thing I honestly can say that I'm glad she did tell them, because they opened a line of communication where they were able to talk about different things. So it's like when it comes to that whole thing with her being pregnant, her walking around, if we don't talk about anything, we don't discuss anything, we don't have family meetings, we're not coming together to even have a regular just joyful conversation. Why do you expect me to bring anything to you personally about my life when we don't talk?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I once I do that, if once I do that, most of the time people are scared of, the reaction. What are they going to do? What are they going to say? How is this going to go? So that anxiety builds up. And then when you end up telling the person and then they fly off the handle, because most of our back in the day parents do that. Once they get information, they don't do the breathe, stop, think. They just go, oh my God, what are you doing? And it's like, that doesn't need that. It doesn't need that. You need to relax, take a deep breath. Soon as you hear something, sit silent. Like what I do is like when people come into me and you gotta bring something to me and have some conversation with me about something, I may be a little bit combative at first, but then I kind of check myself like, all right, shut up, just listen. Before you try to fight what they saying, just listen. And I'll listen and I'll let the person go on for a minute so I can catch everything that you're saying. So then once you do that, I'll be like, all right, I received that. I can understand where you would feel like that because I did X, Y, and Z. But let me tell you why I did this. And then I'll go into what I have to say. But it's the main thing is if we listen more to each other and we had more conversations and we weren't afraid to sit down and talk to each other, a lot of shit would be alleviated. A lot of shit would be easier. It wouldn't be as bad. But now in the new age, if you're not texting, reposting, put it in your story, posting it on your Facebook page, putting it on Messenger, nobody wants to pay attention to it until it's too late. We need to put these phones down. We need to put the gadgets down. We need to put all this stuff down and start getting back to regular conversation and having regular conversations.
And it's simple conversation, people. It don't take a lot. You ain't got to come in saying all these other things.
And that's what I told him. Like you gotta just relate. Be open to a conversation.
Yeah,
that's my
be
main
open minded. Be open minded to the conversation. And before we move on to the next part, Doc, because you're a little bit more seasoned, than we are. Okay.
I can't tell, Doc. You still looking young over
yes,
there, okay?
Doc still got. Listen, y'all know Doc.
Listen, when
I
you
go
ready to date, let me know. I
Doc
got
is
somebody for
funny.
you. I got somebody for you, Doc. When you ready to date, let me know.
Make sure they thick,
Let me
because
know.
Doc like thick women.
Look. 8 to 80 blind, crippling crazy. Bring them.
Like seriously.
Oh no, she got a job. She cute. She on it. All right, she is the bomb.
Nah. See. I know my limits. I don't want to
I
put up
know
with me.
that's right.
I don't want to put up with me. But talking about the conversation, I mean, gone are the days where family, like you had like family dinner, like everybody kind of came together. Everybody came. How was your day? Dad talks about his day. How are you doing in school? This, that, and the other. And see, with the weapons of mass distraction, the cell phones, and all these other things, what happens is people don't even talk to each other anymore. You got people in the house that will, text their brother to come downstairs. They won't call them, they won't talk to them, and that's just in general. People don't talk to you anymore. They don't call. I mean, unless you got close friends, they call you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they will text you. They'll IM you. They'll do anything, but they actually avoid conversation. So because they got so used and addicted to this technology that now that's their crutch. So they got more online friends than they actually have real friends. So they don't even have a way to kind of interact with other people. And usually the problem is when there's a problem at school. Now that school has been going on that problem has been going on for a while. But then all of a sudden when people find out, oh, now it's a big deal. Well, if you had come to the teachers meeting, if you had been coming to class, if you talked to your teacher, if you've been watching, what's going on, you would already know these things. So therefore, the art of conversation is kind of lost in all of this, communication, if we call it, because it's fragmented communication. It's not communication at all.
Mhm. Absolutely. And before that's absolutely right, Doc. And there's so many comments on, and that's what I'm doing, y'all. If y'all see me
Yeah.
clicking away, it's some really, really good comments going on in here. So I'm gonna read the comments and then we're gonna move on to the next part because Tiana is it's another statement that she makes in her book that's so relevant and it makes so much sense to what we're talking about. So we're gonna go back a little bit. Ira said, kill the illusion of high expectations, erase your going to go into the union to change your spouse. That was about the marriage. She also
Mm-hmm.
says, Ain't no sunshine is my book. I read that book one day. Akimba says we need to be examples. That's a contradiction to say do as I say, not as I do, which is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely true. And like I said to him, our children have too much access to what we doing, so we can't say that anymore.
They
Um,
already know what we're doing before we do it. They're like, "Oh, you about to go smoke? Mind
right.
your business.
Right,
Mind your
exactly,
business."
exactly. So,
Woo.
and like he said, confusing the children. If that is the message, then every generation going to pass on the same message.
Mm-hmm.
Generational curses, and of course, oh, he said a culture of walking contradictions. Jackson says weapons of mass distraction. That's real. Yes, it is. I love when Doc says that because
It's
that's
true. It's true.
very,
It
You know,
very
because
is.
they take you off your square. Because growing up, as a child, I couldn't even be in the same room when adults was talking.
facts.
Right.
Adults is talking, you're not even that. No, you go over there with the kids.
Yeah.
So
Once it
therefore,
became
what was going on at
grown,
that point now?
Yep,
But then
absolutely.
you have some, it's different because what happens is now, parents are trying to be friends with their kids and party with their kids, and
Mhm.
grandmas are a lot younger right now, and it just kind of just gets watered down. Everybody's so busy doing whatever, they going their different ways that there's no unity. Although you all live in the same house, you might as well be like each room is a different cell,
Mhm.
and there's no
Mhm.
interaction between the two.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Stace, were you gonna say something before we
I
go
would
to?
say like how Doc said to piggyback off what he said. My mom used to be if it was two or more adults in the room and I was the only child, I would get up automatically. You ain't even have to tell me because I
Mhm.
already didn't like it because it's like, oh, I'm the only kid. Oh no, y'all gonna start focusing on me. Let
Right.
me get up out of here if I start having all this conversation. Especially when I was older, when I started to become a teenager. Oh, I was definitely. As soon as I walked in the room, and if I was the only child, I was darting out there, John. You got a boyfriend now? What you doing?
Yeah,
Ma'am,
doing too
mind your
much.
business.
Mhm.
Like,
I know that's
so,
right.
so
I
because I couldn't say mind my business, I just darted out the room. They would be like, yo, she always running when we all come in here. Yup.
yes, because she's
Mm-hmm.
doing the wrong thing. So it's like it was another statement that Tiana made that was really, really important to know. And it was the best way to know if you've been a victim of sexual abuse is to have a clear definition of what sexual abuse is. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I love that because we as people play with words and we use inviting words to change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people use inviting words to be a victim of something that may or may not give attention. Some people think being a victim of something will get you all this attention, but it really don't. But
It's the wrong type of attention.
yes,
Right.
yes, yes. And so Tiana, could you break down? I'm gonna have it going across the screen. Can you break down as you put in your book the definition of sexual abuse as you stated in your book?
Yes, I could definitely do that. Cause you know why? Cause here go the book right here.
I know
Okay.
that's
let me
right.
I know that's right.
let me get the expert right here.
This is no other way than to ask the person that
Yes.
wrote it.
Yes. It's any undesired sexual behavior done by one or more people to another, such as touching, anal or vaginal penetration, oral sex, unwelcoming kissing, refusing to wear condoms, rape, deliberately limiting someone's access to birth control, threatening to hurt someone if they don't have sex with you, or having sex with someone who is not conscious, drunk, or drugged are all examples of sexual abuse. When force is used, whether it is abrupt, a short duration, or infrequent, that is then considered sexual assault.
Mhm.
And I literally, I in my group that I'm doing now, I I shared this book with the girls, and I think we've been doing this now end of February, and we'll read a story and I'll get their feedback. And it's heartbreaking when one of them come and say, can you read what I wrote in the back? Because I wasn't sure if I was sexually abused, but I'm so scared to tell my mom.
Mhm.
Can you read this in the back? And she definitely was a victim of sexual abuse. And the craziest thing about it all is now what does she do right now? So one of those things that I try to do when I'm building with these young people is I always want to have their confidence and trust, because they're going to tell me things that they wouldn't tell other people, and I'm tasked with getting you to tell your parents if you can, or to speak to a professional. And so in this instance, as you guys were saying, how there's no conversation, no communication, so why would I bring anything to you? So unfortunately, what I find, this is the same narrative. When I ask the parents what's up with the kids, they don't listen. When I ask the kids, they say their parents don't listen. And when the kids go to talk, they already have exactly what their parents are going to say to them. You was dumb, you stupid. Why you keep you can't. It's just never a place where they can go. Cause in my head, you're the guy, parents are the guys. So you gotta go and understand they're gonna make multiple mistakes, just like we did. So now, as their guide, when they're telling you something, and maybe whatever part they played in it, because you like, why would you do that? Well, y'all say the brain doesn't fully develop until 25. So they're going to do some things that, one, they shouldn't do. Two, you're not talking to them about these things. So you're always coming on the back trying to play catch up instead of having these conversations, because we all know that sexual abuse happens. We all know.
Right.
So why aren't we starting to have these conversations? Because in my head, I'm thinking people think that their kids don't have sex, but I can guarantee you that I've talked to some very young people, 11, 12, who are more sexually active than some married people. So we need to start having these conversations so that these kids do know what sexual abuse is, or any kind of sexual assault, even with the sexting, the sending the nudes,
Mhm.
or they are really not clear. It's like we let the kids get on the internet, but we won't let them get a license without having supervised rides and then passing the test. But they're on the World Wide Web with people who are master manipulators with a picture that look like young Ken, but that's really 65-year-old Jerome that's going to meet you, and you're never going to see your parents again. Or
Yeah.
he's going to put you in a situation because he's going to manipulate your mind. You better send me more pics, or I'm going to blast you. I'm going to tell your mom that you out here being a thought. And
Mhm.
we're not giving our children the tools. We're expecting them to know. But how do they know something that they've never been educated about?
If she ain't said a word that we saying on this word, how many times do we say that to y'all? Listen, stop doing that. We gotta stop doing that. And also too, it's not just girls. Like don't exclude
Mm-mm.
your boys. Do not exclude your boys.
Boys
Like
too.
Doc,
Boys too.
like let the like tell them Doc from a man's, point of
Absolutely.
view and having a son. It's not. It's like from what would you? How could you
With a
have that
son,
conversation
with a
with your
son.
son, like
Oh,
from a
I
man?
tell you,
But no, I mean, and Stacey, you like,
cause
and also too, I want you to tell your side because you have a special needs son, so his brain works differently. You know what I
than
mean? So
everybody
it's
else's.
like, right. So it's
He
how
think everybody gonna be nice to him, and I have to tell him all the
right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
But I
They
want to
don't
hold on.
know
Wait,
you.
wait, right? Because
So
I want Doc to explain it from a man's point, and then I want you to come in from a mom and just having a different, knowing that your son is different.
I'm about to
You
say,
know,
yeah, we gotta do it quick, cause you know it.
I know I see it's
Since
10:13. It's 10:13.
Mhm.
She got me 4 minutes. So go ahead. Go ahead,
Who's
Doc.
going?
You go first.
It's the type of thing where, once again, the father figure, the male figure, plays a very important role. So when you have a male in the house, and there are, the daughter of his wife, his girlfriend, whoever he's interacting with, that behavior has to be monitored very closely. There's no way that little girl should be sitting on, his lap, and all of these other as a parent, you also have to prepare your child for the real world. As Stacy says, they don't love you. Like, everybody out here don't mean you well. They don't mean there's some very vicious and angry and manipulative people out here. So what happens is, once child gets between, high school, and now they're going into the work world, now basically they are seen as fresh meat for the managers, the teachers that they work for. And time again, we see that, these young kids right out of high school, kind of, eyes wide open, they get these jobs at McDonald's or Burger King, whatever. But then, in order to get like more hours, they got to do certain things, which really are basically taking advantage of them at that point. So therefore, that's why both parties, male and female, protecting young girls, young boys, have that conversation to kind of prepare them when their parents aren't around. Because sometimes the parents, realize because it gets to the point, who can you trust? Who do you trust your child with? And sometimes it's sad because some people just get so protected that unless that child is with the father or the mother, there's really nobody that they feel comfortable with. Other family members, you may know them forever, but can you really trust them? And there are members in the family that they know don't have her around Uncle Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Do not ever leave them alone.
And how,
Don't.
I'm sorry, can I chime in? Because
Sure.
that touches me personally. That, in my life I've experienced that, and I've gotten to the point where now that I take my moment to call you out, a predator out there. You do not, I try to wrap my mind around this. I know you a child predator, but you can come to the family reunion. Why?
Right.
Why
Wow.
would I put
Right.
the
Thank
kids,
you.
they the
Thank you.
candy, and
Thank you.
dangle them in front of you,
Thank
and to
you.
say, well, I'm gonna watch you? I'm not watching. No,
Right.
you're no longer allowed in the village.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I
Right.
like
It's
that.
just, it's unforgivable. I
I
mean,
like
I don't
Yeah.
know, even they castrate you, might use your mouth, women do it too. So it's like the protection should be on the children, and you should just not be allowed to come back around.
yeah.
It's
Mm-mm.
nothing to be said. And I had to lay somebody, and he was extended family that had to get laid out. Like, you don't speak to my children. We happen to be in church, and I don't know why you sat here,
Mm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I am still 100% flesh. So why did you sit here?
Yeah.
Don't try to hug me. We not cool, buddy. If you speak to my children, I may kill you in church,
I know that's
because
Mm-hmm.
you're a predator. And so they may accept you, but I have to kill you,
I'm sorry.
because that's what
I gotta
got to
say
get
this.
done.
You at the right place at the right time because you fitting to
Mm,
meet your makeup.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We
Already at
might as
Right.
well get
but
your black
Mm-hmm.
outfit out right
yeah.
now. Wait, real quick,
And I'm so
before
glad
they
y'all
start to
said
get
that.
this.
Yeah, because I wanted to say with you, Stacy. I was gonna go ahead because I was going. Go ahead. I was going to just go ahead and say let you talk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stacey.
No, no,
No,
no.
you good, you good,
Yeah,
you
I go
good.
to work.
No. As
Yeah.
far as like the little boy, like being a single mom and having a little boy, my son, with him being autistic, people don't really necessarily notice it like that because he is high functioning. But with
Mm-hmm.
him, I have to talk to him because he's fallen in love with YouTube. And so he
Mm,
told me he wants to be a vlogger. He wants to have 100,000 million views. So I said,
mm-hmm.
that's fine. That's possible if that's what you want to do, if you really care about it. But I also had to have a conversation with him because he uploaded something on Facebook. And usually people will see I post pictures here and there of my son, but I don't post a lot of pictures as of recent because
Mm,
of the conversations I'm having and the different things I'm trying to do. You already know they try to attack every little thing of us, especially the things
mm-hmm.
that we love mostly and care about mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And I already know I'll catch a case for it, like my family, my son, all that. So I don't
So
show
will
him
I.
like that. So he decided to put a video on Facebook, and Drea caught it. So when he
Mm,
did that, I didn't get a chance to talk to him because with me working overnight, I was kind of moving fast. So the next day, I'm on the phone, and he again is messing with his tablet, trying to upload and show stuff where he pushed the AirPlay button. So it came
Mm.
up. Thank God it came up on my TV, but it came
Right.
up on my TV. And
Mm.
so I had to sit him down. I did kind of get mad with him at first, like, "What are you doing? Why are you pushing buttons? But you know what?
Right.
Give me all your stuff. Put it down
Mm-hmm.
here. You can't use it for right now." And then when I was trying to talk to him, he was upset because I took all his stuff, so he didn't want to hear it. So I said, "Well, you go ahead and get yourself together. Me, you're going to have a conversation." So my mom had walked in and she talked to him. She was like, he said, "Well, what's wrong with you?" My day was bad. She was like, "Well, why?" She said, "Because mommy got mad at me." She was like, "Why?" He said, "Because I just wanted to upload my video and show her. And so I started pushing buttons and it came on her TV and she got mad at me. She didn't watch my video." So she was like, my mom was like, "Do you understand why your mother got mad at you about uploading videos or pressing stuff on your tablet?" And he was like, "No." And so she said, "I understand that you want to become a YouTuber and you want to do all these different things, but you are 9 years old. We have to
Right.
monitor what you're doing
Right.
because there are people out there that may try to be nice to you and you may think are nice and cool, but in all actuality, they're bad people and they'll try to
Mm-hmm.
lure you in and get to you." And she said, "You know how crazy your mother is. So you want your
Yeah.
mom to beat somebody up to try to
Yeah.
like lighten
Right.
their mood." So he was like, "Well, no." Once she said that, he kind of understood. So now his thing is instead of putting them on his TV, he'll airdrop them to me. So he knows
Mm.
how to airdrop. So he's smart as shit. He knows how to
Right.
airdrop stuff. So he'll airdrop them to me, and he'll say, "Mom, watch my video, and let me know if I can get 100,000 and a million views." I'm like, "Okay, I will watch your video. I promise."
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, we just gotta make sure that we watch these kids and what they doing because they think everything is so innocent. It's
Right.
not.
Right.
It's really
And,
Right.
not.
and Sean is so innocent. He's so sweet. And he just wants to love up on everybody. Like when I
Mhm.
call, he's like, "Hi, Auntie Drea. How was your day?"
How was your
But
day?
He'll
How
that,
was
give
your
you,
week? How
he,
was your Christmas? How was your? He'll ask you
yes, he'll give
all
you
the
a whole,
things.
you just want to tell him. It's like, well, my Christmas, and
right.
it's
Right.
so amazing. And like she said, like that, she knows that's her son, and people will pray
Mhm.
on that. So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
the fact
Right.
that
Listen,
he
That.
his
had,
kid. I had to get with his cousins and talk to them and tell them because they was using my baby as bait to get candy. I said, "Let me tell y'all something.
Mm.
yeah, and the
Well, we
fact that
not
you
going to
had,
listen."
right,
All
Mm-hmm.
right.
the fact that
Right.
And
you
he was with it. And my thing is, he was with. He went and asked my cousin for the candy. So because he doesn't normally ask for candy, she gave it
right,
to him. But
Mm-hmm.
she was hip
Mhm.
to it, like, "Y'all not going." And she even said stuff. She's like, "Y'all not going
right,
to be doing my boy like that." And that's my
Mm-hmm.
Right.
biggest fear because he's so nice and sweet and he has a helpful spirit like me. Anybody that walk up to him or message him or say something to him, he gonna want to help him. And it's like,
yeah,
I feel you. That's great.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
I love that you
Right.
have that spirit.
Mhm.
However,
right.
you
Mhm.
gotta be
It's always
careful
a however.
because
Right.
listen,
That's the love. That's the love of a child. That's the innocence of a child. And just when they're online, social media, the internet, you have to let them know. Just like you're in touch with the world, the
Hmm.
entire world is in touch with you.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's the
this is a
reason
breeding
too.
ground.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a
This
great
is a breeding.
interface, like that you had in a conversation that you had with him, so he understood, like you're not in trouble, but this is why you can't. And then now he sends it straight to you to get your opinion first.
Yep.
'Cause
And
when I
he's
seen
not
it, I
posting
was like,
anything because
Stacey, so you
yeah.
posting Sean?
I
When
mean, that's what.
I was talking to her that
Mind you, yeah, she gonna post. She's like, "You posted Sean? I saw his video." I said, "Video, Sean?
yeah,
No, I
because
ain't posted him."
she don't
Huh?
post her
He
baby.
Huh?
hijacked my page and my
Yeah,
story. You talking about? I only the reason why I left it up is because he didn't show his face. So I said,
yeah,
"All
Right.
right, cool."
yeah, and
Mhm.
that's
He ain't
why
show
I
Right.
his
thought.
face
And that's why I thought she did it, because he didn't show his face. That's why I was like,
because
"Oh,
Mm.
you
I
posted
don't.
Sean now?" And she
Especially with
was like,
everything that I'm trying to do, it's like I have no problem. Like with me, I don't hide nothing from him. I talk to him. I let him be in on conversations I'm
"Yeah,
having with the
Mhm.
impedum group that I'm with Akimba, and I'll let him listen to different
you,
conversations that we have as far as like webinars and all that stuff. But as far as letting him just be on my page and have pictures of him everywhere, no, because
Mhm. No.
people hate too much. People are mean.
Right.
They're nasty, and with him and my mom, like even with my mom, like with him and my mom, they like to go out places, do all this different stuff. I'm not saying I'm no celebrity by no means, but when you start to become a part of something big or great that you're trying to
Mhm.
change the world, people are watching you. They watching who are related to you, who you care about, who you think about, who you post, all that
Mhm.
stuff. They pay attention to
Right.
that. So,
Right.
with that being said, I'd be damned if anybody do something to mine.
I know
So,
that's right.
Right, right, right.
like,
But
Right.
it's also key that Callie had that conversation to understand you're mad at him. But when mom broke it down as to, well, do you know why she's mad at you? And you had that conversation, therefore he fully understands at that point. That's all why the same type of things, on your children's book bag, on their clothes, you don't put their name because any stranger can kind of call them, if their name's on their book bag or in their jacket, so they call them
oh,
if
I
they
put it on the
might think you
inside.
know them.
Yeah, I
Right.
just what yeah, because I told him that too. I had a conversation with him too. I said, if anybody ever calls your name and you don't know them, like Sean, he retired of me because when he used to go to school, because of him being the way he was, and I like the school don't like the way his school is, they tell you about things that happen between the children, but they don't give you the information of who the child was, who
Yup.
the parent. Like
That
they don't even have
that
that. They don't
pisses me
have their
off.
whole meeting thing. They basically,
That pisses me off.
with West Oak Lane Charter, they basically phased out the whole part of the whole meetup
Cass
of
school do the
parents
same thing.
and having conversations with the charter, having
I don't like that.
conversations between the parents, and I don't like that because with my child being who he is, I want to know who's messing with him. Not in the sense to sit up there and be mean to him, in the sense to educate this child because maybe their parents are educating them on special needs children or different
Or
type of
not
children
educating
or
them.
at all because
Yes.
a lot of the times where kids were getting picked on back in the day would have because they had autism back in the day.
They called the LP.
They might not have classified it like that, but it was a thing. They
Yup.
don't have conversations with these children, and it's like you need to like. That's why I like his class and I like his teachers that he did get because they
Mhm.
stopped and they had conversations with the class, briefing them on how Sean is, how he learns, when he's
Nice.
doing certain things, why he's doing certain things.
Nice.
So when Sean goes to school, them kids don't play. Whatever class he in, they don't play about Sean.
I
They
know
might mess with him
they
here and there, and they, kids, they're gonna mess with each other. They're
yeah.
gonna do things to each other because even still, with them knowing and being educated, they're still kids. So they're
But
still
they
gonna
got
do
respect.
mischievous things. They still gonna try to take stuff, do stuff here and there. But like the fact that the teachers have conversations with them is big to me because they didn't do that back in the day. They didn't do that back in
Mm-hmm.
the day. If you mess with their child, you would just get cussed out, suspended, and you never know why. When all along you mess with this child, but this child is special needs, or this child learns differently, and it looks bad. So we gotta do X, Y, and Z because this parent is mad. No, start educating these kids. Start having conversations with these kids. Stop looking at them like they don't deserve to be told stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
also
the
just
biggest thing in the black family. We always keep a secret. Stop keeping
yes,
secrets.
absolutely. And to piggyback off of what you said, Stacey, and it's 10:26, you gotta get ready for
I
work.
know. I know. Oh,
Uh
I'm already ready. I just want to jump off and
yes. I'm gonna play your song as you leave out, and I want you to tell everybody what you got coming up so you can go hit to work. But just to piggyback off of what you said, as far as like back in the day when you would get in trouble, and sometimes they would never explain, like you said, why you're getting in trouble. So now you just made the person more of a target. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you did something wrong, you were
yes.
told, and then the person got suspended for doing X, Y, and Z. Now you're a bigger target because you a snitch because nobody explained your issue, your trauma. You know what I mean? But listen, we're gonna let Stacey go because she got to go to work. Okay, she got to. Okay, everybody gonna be as stimulated. Okay, because it was stimulus eve yesterday. A lot of you got your
Oh, I
stimulus.
was already stimulated on Friday. Catch up,
But
boo.
listen, she still got to work. Them stimulus don't stop. No show for some of us. For some, no shade to
Listen.
nobody, but with people, even with that, anybody could be like, "Oh yeah, I got that stimulus check. I'm not working." Stacey was like, "No, I'm gonna do a double last night, and I'm gonna go tonight." So respect the
Yes.
queen.
And I got a photo shoot tomorrow at 3. So
Yes,
like, yeah, I'm gonna be
yes.
tired.
Like us black women, we do it. We got like a trillion hats. So Stacey, baby says, "I love you." I'm queuing up your
Love
music.
you
Tell them
too.
who you are and where to find you.
Oh, and
And
she
I'm gonna give
said,
you.
"My name is Stace, known as just Stace, host of Art of Conversation. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. on Instagram. I do live tapings on my page, The Art of Conversation. This Sunday is about support and what it looks like. I'm gonna be talking about support of all aspects for supporting your friends with their businesses, supporting family members, just support all types of support. So if
Mhm.
you want to come and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I also have a part of my show where I let people come in and speak and say their opinions and views and all of that. So Just join me on Sunday at 9. I'm saying, like, come through.
Yes.
Come through.
And baby sis, I had you all queued up, but you know what they did? They had kicked us out. Look, I can't find my banners. It got me stuck on it. It got me stuck.
Mhm.
It's stuck on station. There we go.
Listen,
Here we go.
a
So,
word, a
sis, thank
word,
you
a
for coming
word.
through the show. We're gonna take a quick music break because baby sis gotta go to work. So I'm gonna put this up. Y'all not gonna be able to see us as she exits out. As again, she told you, Art of Conversation, Instagram every Sunday, 9 p.m. And she do ladies' night on Friday, 8 p.m. where we be talking about all the stuff. So sis, get ready for work. Be safe. We love you. And this is a song that she put in a private chat to hear. So we're gonna play it as you exit.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I'll take a mile if you give an inch. I've been waiting too long, I'm jumping off the bench. A girl with a mind couldn't be relevant. Hip hop wouldn't accept that she was eloquent. Are they miseducated? Now this couldn't be real. Or is that why Lauren jumped off the hill? Will she relieve my mind and tell me how she feel? Or maybe in time it'll all reveal. Did black kids without fathers finally hit his peak? They say he wouldn't claim his kids without a receipt. So they see a generation of niggas and thugs. But I see brothers there giving their children a hug. Press me and my soldiers will press you when you fall out of pocket. They'll take all the chains that protect me as a spoiler warning. You know we gon' pop.
So shout out to Baby Sis. She always come through with songs that you never heard of, and they be so dope. I don't know, like her taste in music is amazing. So yes, guys, thank y'all again for joining us for Philly Unfiltered. We are here with Tiana Brown, Stacy, the Art of Conversation. She just left. Thank you, sis, for coming through. So because and we know you tired, so I had two I had two more things I wanted to make mention of. And Doc, if you had any awesome questions that you wanted to ask, you got
My question is, you talked about working with, I guess, young ladies, and I was just wondering in your work with them, I mean, what type of tools do you use? How is it received? And what changes do you see them making once they've gone through working with you?
and that's I'm sorry, somebody
Mhm.
actually asked something like that. So if y'all could see at the bottom of the screen, it's like Doc just asked almost the same question. So maybe you can kind of answer them both. It's like for tips for their daughter to talk to them about kind of what Doc just said.
Mhm. So, one of the things I realized, because when I first got hired to work with young girls, I don't understand this. When you're doing this work, I don't believe in competition. The
Mhm.
more, the merrier. But I've encountered women who it's just I don't know if it's insecure or jealousy because they got all these degrees and and that's dope. They paid the student debt. That's decent. And
Right.
so it's cool if you're a doctor of this and you got your master's. But the difference is when I'm talking to these young people, I can relate and they can relate to me. So I don't come in here with the suit on. I'm just not for that. I know my mission and purpose. So
Mm,
when I come in here, I just tell them the truth. Like I everything that I've been through, I share with them. I let them know there was periods in my life where I was promiscuous. I let them know that I had STDs because again, when I'm out here with no guidance and
mhm,
I'm having sex, the first time I have consensual sex, I get STD.
mm,
So they can listen to that versus somebody just saying use a condom. What do that mean? What
right,
do that mean for them? They
right,
want to feel, or somebody told them it'll feel good. Why I let them know it didn't feel good going to the
right,
clinic because back then your
right,
parents had to go with you. You couldn't go, now you go by yourself at 14. They think you grown. But
right.
back then, my mom had to go with me with all her children. And when she come back and say, oh, your daughter has STD, that's not a good feeling. So when I can relate to them, I've been somebody who people don't know that I had low self-esteem, but
Mm,
they didn't know that. They didn't know I was molested. They didn't know I was raped. So when I'm just talking to them in my very first initial of meeting people, my purpose, that first meeting is to tear the shield down because
mm.
they have the shield up. So once that shield is down, now it's like these
Go,
girls want to tell me their whole life story. And the saddest part about this job is no matter how many times I run this group, I'm going to get two girls out of each group to tell me that they've been molested or raped.
mm,
Guaranteed two every time I run that program. and
Wow.
it could be only 6 in the group, I still keep getting at least 2.
Wow.
So I just try to be honest with them. I'm not a judgmental person. And from what I remember a girl said, "Oh, you like the oils." I'm like, "What you talking about?" I don't know these drug dealer terminologies, but I'm like, okay, if that's what it is, I'm like the oil, they like the raw, the truth. They don't
Mm,
want to tell somebody something. And the first thing they say is, "Oh, you stupid for that." No, 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 no. You're not stupid for that. That was a decision you made. Now, how can we better make decisions?
yeah.
So, what I do, I'm trying to impart into them their voice, building their self-esteem, but educating them about their choices. Some of them have been through so much, they really don't know who they are. They don't know who they can trust and who they can talk to. So I always leave it like after I do group, I always say, "Come on through. Y'all can come private, schedule some time. Y'all can call me, y'all can text me." And they do it because they say it's just somebody that they can go to and they don't feel judgment. So if I do coursework, I talk about sex. I talk about education. I
Mhm.
talk about communication. I talk about self-esteem. I talk about meditation. I just try to introduce them to things that maybe they haven't been introduced to. And what I find is I am building a friendship with these people who are already looking for somebody to care about them. So I think not, and I have to explain to them, it's not that your parent or guardian doesn't care about you. It's that a lot of times they're busy. A lot of times they're just duplicating what was done to them. And so I even give them skills to go back and try to talk to their parents in a different way. Because a lot of times, they want to do stuff. And I'm like, well, why your mom don't want you to do that or your dad don't want you to do that? Oh, because, I lied to him before. Okay, now let's talk about that.
Right,
So
right. Let's
I
be
did. I'm like, hey,
real.
let's work on building that trust back. But I also give them different dialogue to go talk to their parents.
Mhm.
So to remind that their parents that, hey, you was a teenager before as well, too. And I try to break, sometimes with the females, there's that attitude. And I tell them because that don't mean nothing to me. They come in or that don't mean nothing to me. Because underneath there, I'ma find you. Watch. The one with the biggest attitude, I'ma find that softy. And so I try to get them, take that attitude away and say what you really want to say. Well,
Mhm.
mom, I really want to go. You never let me go nowhere. Can I go this time? So I'm trying to help them find their voices.
Mhm.
And I think the comment, I couldn't see it. It was a comment that asked, okay, I had to
It was
do
from
it out.
Christine Jackson. It says,
Right.
"Greetings, Tiana. What main tips do you have about how I can protect my daughter without offending the men in my family?" And when we were actually, I think Doc was touching on this too.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "I won't leave my daughter alone with any of her uncles or any male family members, even though I don't actually think they are capable of it, but I'm not taking any risk. It's a lot of people going through darkness and depression, and that can
Mm-hmm.
manifest into alcoholism,
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse, and sexual abuse, etc."
I'm never worried about offending anyone when it becomes to protecting myself and my children. I've gotten to a place where if I'm going to be uncomfortable, I don't go. If
Mhm.
I have that thought, they don't need to go.
Right.
Um, my grandmother was old school. You don't spend the night at nobody else's house but this house. Whoever your siblings is, be best friends with them because y'all gonna be around each other all the time because you're not going to nobody's house.
Mhm.
And I was molested by my cousin.
Mhm.
And the thing about it was, who would have thought? I'm 5, he's 12. Who would have thought? He's a kid, I'm a kid.
Mhm.
But that happens. Then there was an
Mhm.
uncle who came. Who would have thought?
Right.
Why would this uncle pick me out of everybody? Who would have thought? So now, because I have the knowledge to know that you don't get a second chance with protecting your children in this way, because I'll tell people I got a life sentence. Being molested and raped gave me a life sentence. See, they did their deed, they going about their life. They ain't even get no jail time. But I have a life sentence of I have to press through this. There are times where I can watch something on TV and
Mhm.
that would trigger me because I hate to see children hurt in that way. Any sexual abuse,
Mhm.
it's instant trigger for me. So I don't care if people are offended because you're doing your job.
Yeah.
You have to do your job. Now, I'm not saying being insane, because at some point I was insane. I wouldn't let my daughter go nowhere.
Mm.
And this girl came down with a whiteboard and she built up a whole case. She turned to a whole lawyer and
Right.
presented her case as to why she should be able to. And then also, I went to therapy. So I understood that I don't want to put that energy out there on her. I can still protect her, but I had to start saying, well, let me talk to the principal, because it's the principal's daughter. Hey, can I visit your home? I want to come over. I want to see. My daughter had to be old enough to speak and had to have direct access to me, because if anything came up, she got uncomfortable, I'm the first parent on site. And
Mm.
I'll say this, my uncle, he used to let us sit on laps. Doc, I heard you saying that about sitting on
Mhm.
people's laps.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I had told my dad one day, like, Daddy, he keeps saying for us to sit on his lap. And well, when my dad went around there, that was the last time he ever asked me to sit
I
on a
know
lap.
that's right.
Cause I said, oh, he wasn't about to have no more lap. Cause my dad just, he knew what had happened to me. And he just wasn't about, he like, no, 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 no. You better never ask my daughter that again.
Yeah.
Because in reality, now I get it. Like my grandpop, that's a different story. You pop up and you pop off. Because some things is just, all
Mhm.
men or
Mm.
women are not predators. Some things is just natural. You
Right.
kiss a
Right.
child, it's like, hey, okay, look at that little kid. But that uncle knew that was perversion.
Right.
Because why? Again, you getting me and my cousin, and that's some things that the person who just posted too. People will seek the person who they think is timid and who won't tell. They
Yeah.
don't go after the loud ones, because they
Mhm.
know they might fight and they telling.
Mm-hmm.
They look for
Mhm.
timid, and I was timid. I didn't speak up very much. So he was just doing that, and for whatever reason, I just knew I'm uncomfortable. I just want to tell my dad. And that made me feel good too when I went and told my dad that he did something for me. That
Mhm.
he
Right.
didn't just say, "Oh, well, we gonna closet. Don't worry about that." He went to him and
Mhm.
came back to me and let me know, if you feel uncomfortable in any way.
Right.
So these might be tips, these conversations beforehand. These conversations, and I could care less about your family being offended. I can't, because I'll tell you, there are people, when these things happen in this way, family will look the other way. Family will tell you this, because they told me this: get over it.
Mm.
That
Mhm.
happened a long time ago.
Right.
So you don't care about them, because they ain't gonna care about your baby when it's time. So yeah, they are capable of it. So you do your
Mhm.
best to just protect her.
Right. Did they
Absolutely.
tell you to get over it? Because chances are that happened to them, and that's how
Chances
they dealt
are.
with it. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, you just let the kids to kind of fend for themselves. Oh, I turned out okay. She gonna be all
Right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
that ain't
knowing they
necessarily
ain't
the
all
case.
right. None of them
Right.
is all right. They always say
Mhm.
that I turned out all right, but you look at their relationships, you
Right.
look at yourself, they're miserable, they're
Yeah.
bitter,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're unhappy,
In
and
situationships.
exactly. And they didn't get no therapy. And I'm not, therapy is not always being on somebody's couch, because that don't always work.
That's true.
But even they didn't do self-help, nothing. They didn't find any coping mechanism that works for them. And
Mm-hmm.
they just want to say, get over it, because in my heart, it just reminds them of what they didn't deal with. So they don't want it to be
Exactly.
talked about.
Exactly. Exactly. So people know that it's not so much that they want you to get over it. It's like you're making them face the fact that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And also,
Right.
too, like she said, and with men, it was just the fact that her father didn't brush it off. He ain't had to
Mm-hmm.
beat no ass, he ain't had to kill nobody, but he showed up. He said
Right.
what he said, he meant
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
what he meant, and he went back about his business. Sometimes that's all we need as women,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
because when we don't have it as children, we take it to us being women. So now we
Mm-hmm.
look into men for that protection that our father never gave us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now
Mhm.
we want every man that we with to stand up for us, as you should. But
Mm-hmm.
then we will put ourselves in situations to see if
Right.
you'll stand up for us. But then we're also putting you in harm's way because we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to deal with the trauma. It's a kerfuffle. So I
Mhm.
call it a kerfuffle. So
Yeah, and I call it attention deficit disorder. See, they got it backwards. See, they think that's something else. You can't pay attention. No, the problem is some people didn't get healthy attention because we all need healthy attention. We
fact,
all need that. And
fact.
so when you don't get the healthy attention, you got people out here falling down. What the? Get your ass up because you want somebody to come like you a damsel in distress. You have people that are so thirsty for
I had to look
attention.
down because Doc know we talk about because they in the church too.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I'm gonna look
Absolutely.
hmm
down.
Yeah, so for me, I'm like, we have to have that healthy attention, so we don't go out here looking for that. We don't want to. Hey, this guy say something to me, fight him, girl. He about to get killed.
Yes,
No, don't
yes.
no. Be when you got yourself together, babe. No, chill. He ain't even worth it.
Yes, yes, yes. Ladies, do y'all hear that? Because I've been in a situation with we was down North Philly and the dude
Mm-hmm.
it's a little block, small block, Grant Street down North Philly,
Mm.
19th and Diamond.
Yeah.
They having a college party around there. So boy just sitting in the street. So we're trying to go check on my fiance's grandma. She
Mm-hmm.
90 something years old. She lived by herself. We just want to do a wellness check.
Right.
He don't want to move. So my
Mm.
fiance honked the horn. He jumped out the guy jumped out the car
Mm.
like stop honking your fucking horn.
Mm.
I do six something. He reached for that door.
Mm.
I said,
Yeah. Mm.
and even in that with men, y'all have to understand. I'm not trying to punk you. I ain't never gonna let nobody punk you.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
second, babe. Like,
Mhm.
and then he was walking to his trunk.
Yeah.
And like once we drove off, he was like, "Just let me get myself together." I said, "Babe, take a minute." And once we talk, I said, "Understand? I never let nobody punk you. Like I'm right.
Right.
Like what's up? Where my rubber band for my ponytail?" But
Right.
in that moment, we have to look at where we at, look at
Yeah.
what's happening, and kind of like, you know,
Right.
got that,
Right.
bruh. You know what
It's
I mean?
Mhm.
strength. It's really strength in silence. And people think the loudest is the room is the most powerful, but sometimes it's the silent person that's just sitting there because they know when to act, they know when to run. See,
Yeah.
I'm a run because I realize my goal is to go home and to wake up and get old. That's my goal. I don't have anything to prove to
Mhm.
you because you big bad hold up the street.
Mhm.
And I don't want my man, out here. I don't need you to lose your life because I need you in my life for as long as God will allow you to be here. So we don't need to do all that. And unfortunately, some people really haven't been raised. And I think I told you that the other day when people say, well, who raised these people? And the answer is nobody.
Yep.
Right.
Nobody. That's why they out
Mhm.
here acting like fools.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
They are misplaced. They are misplaced. They misunderstood. They are misled. It's a bunch of misses. We miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
absolutely a bunch of misses. And because we're coming down closer to the time, it's three things that I want to touch on really quick. And I said this in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much gun violence going on, and what makes me smile because it was a story of it was some gun violence in your neighborhood, and your husband had attended to a teenage boy that had gotten shot. And it was one point where he was like, he sat down and he got the boy, and he had him close and was like, keeping him tight.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the boy looked at me, was like, "Man, why you holding me like this?" He was like, "I don't know, man. I seen it on Law and Order. I thought it would help." And it cracked me up, but it was so real in that moment because I would have did the same thing. And I love Law and Order SVU. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt it and I respected and I understood it. And it's like it was funny, but even in that moment, him watching that probably saved that boy's life. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'll say this. If we were the kind of people that just minded our business, that boy would have bled out. And the reason that I know that, well, first, like you're
Oh, her
sitting
husband told her to
outside,
go in the house, y'all.
you know,
Hubby wasn't playing. Hubby said, "Okay, you go in.
right.
I
And
got."
I'm looking like, hold up, because my daughter was there, her friend was there. I'm like, I'm supposed to be ride or die. Like I
Right.
can't, I want to listen to you, but I gotta look. And it was like I seen him go across the street, and it was like the young man had knocked on doors and they weren't opening. And I'm like, hearing him like in the bushes. And my thing is, he probably thinking they still out here. I'm thinking they still out here. So I'm saying, if I go out here, at least show face is more than one person, then the person will run.
Yeah.
That was my hope. And you can see things on TV, but to see a 15-year-old, that boy was shot, if
Mm,
I'm not mistaken, over 5 times, because I knew he had lost a spleen. And I
damn.
think, you know what, my husband said, get a towel. And in my head, I'm like, is he having a baby?
I
Because
know
you
you
know,
said
you
that.
just don't know. You hear, it's like, what am I getting a towel for? And I'm like, no,
Right.
somebody call the cops. And when he went over there, he did hold him tight, and he told him, he was just like, who are you? He like, right now, I'm a friend. I'm
Yeah.
a friend right now.
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I said, what's your mom's number? Because you don't know. I don't know if you're going to live. I do not know. But I just felt like if he had a mama, I can get the mom number and she can get around. And she only had lived around the corner. And I mean, I don't even mean like 6 steps, and that's how close. But she did not know that was her son out there. And I just really like, to me, it traumatized my husband. It just had to, because you have all this blood on your hands. And
Yeah.
we were able to visit that young guy, but that was like a forever changing thing where it was like, y'all really, like, in that instant he could have been dead. And it's like, wow, so nobody cares. You're just gonna keep killing it. I just never wanted to see something like that, a 15-year-old boy. And then when the neighbor, I'm like, hey, you heard somebody knocking on the door? They was like, yeah, we wasn't going to open it. We heard shots. And I'm like, can't be mad at them, because you got
Right. I
people,
was about to say that. Yeah. You
you
can't.
got people knocking on the door trying to
Yeah.
kill you. Like, hey, is something going on? Next thing you know, you getting shot and robbed.
Yeah.
So
Yes. And your
it's,
husband is so dope because he in the comments.
mhm.
Tiana's the real hero.
No, I wasn't.
Be little things, y'all. That right there is what keeps a marriage healthy.
Hmm.
Not perfect, but healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like and maybe it's just me. It's like little things like that. It would make me love my husband so much more. That's why
Hmm.
I love my y'all. Doc, no, I get the blushes. See, I can't,
Hmm.
every time I think about him, I can't, because I love him so much, because he's so non-judgmental towards me. He's never judged
Yeah.
me, and I got to pass.
Hmm.
And our stories are, similar. I know the times of me being promiscuous. I know, the times of being in situations. I was raped by a boyfriend. We
Hmm.
lived together. When
Hmm.
he was done, he asked me, "What you gonna do? Call the cops? Press charges?"
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's a lot, but it's also almost 11 o'clock. So Miss Tiana,
Hmm.
we're gonna invite you back, for some
Yes.
more juice. But what I did want to, before we go, because within your book,
Hmm.
it's a part. It's called "Watch Out," and
Yes.
you give signs to look
Hmm.
out for. So before we end the show, and guys, yes, Miss Tiana coming back, okay? Y'all keep playing. I'm having Miss
Thank you.
Alicia. I'm gonna have Tiana. Doctor gonna have to take the night off. We getting real deep in the girls talk, but
Hmm.
you give tips on what to look out for within your children
Yes.
when it comes
So
to.
some of the things people don't know, even a teenager could do bedwetting,
Mm,
isolation. If you, oh, she got a bad attitude, but why?
mhm,
Why did this child that used to communicate to you now don't want to talk to you? These are things that we have to look out for. If they become promiscuous, if there's a drug use, they could just pick up these habits that they didn't have before.
mhm.
So the communication piece is vital. Talk to your children. We talk to them from birth. Hey, boop, 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 bye, bye. You doing all that.
Yeah.
So keep on talking to them as they grow. And I'm a big person who will say, my kids aren't my friends. They know that. My daughter hates that I told her that most of her life, but you're not my friend, because I have a job to do, but I do talk to you and I listen to you. But I'm not going to steer you wrong. And I'm not out here trying to get brownie points because I let you go out with the girls and you ain't had no business at this club. No, I don't need that from you. But I will have the dialogue. And now my daughter being 23, she said the other day, it's nothing that I won't tell my mom. I'm like, yeah, it's a week later, but I
Right.
appreciate,
Right, right, right.
Right.
I appreciate that. One, I made sure she had somebody that she can talk to right away. And I
Mhm,
always tell them, I don't got to be her person. But if it's off the deep end, I need to be your person to say,
mhm.
now this is mom duty. I like to
Mhm.
put good people in their life that they could feel I can talk to. But hey, when it's mom duty,
Yeah.
because sometimes our children will tell somebody that a lot of times they'll tell their peers, and
Yeah.
their peers don't got that much guidance to be able to help them.
Yes.
So our children are just hurting,
And
and
they
they
could be
need
going
us.
through something too. Their peers could
Mhm.
Right.
have trauma as well. So it's like,
Yes.
I don't know how to help you because I
Right.
can't even help me.
I can't
Right.
help me.
Right.
I can't help me. So it's very important. Like, pay attention to those signs. Of course, STDs, that's another thing. People is like, talk to your children about venereal diseases. Talk to them about getting checkups regularly. You'll be shocked. I'll ask a young girl, name 5 parts in the female anatomy, and they'll say titties.
The parts
What
that
the
you
what the hell are titties? Do you have titties or do you have breasts? They don't know the proper terms. You
mm-mm.
don't have a pocketbook. It's like, no, you have a vagina. Like, you don't want to go to the doctor like, my pocketbook. No, you
Yes.
have a vagina.
Yeah.
You teach them these things so they can learn about their body. They haven't even examined their vagina or their breasts. It's like, no, you can look in that mirror because you need to know
There's
your
your
body.
sure.
Right. But
Look at
they'll say, oh, my parents won't talk to me about that. Well,
because
why not?
they won't.
You
They
using this body out here, do they don't know that. They don't know that though. So
yeah.
it's like we gotta have that communication piece to where you're not going to be so angry when they tell you something, and they feel like, well, I'm gonna just take a chance and tell my parents because they listen to me, they gonna know what to do.
Yeah. They got the result. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? We gotta let our kids know that we have the resource.
Right.
Have the answer.
Right.
Parents, stop thinking that y'all got the answer. We don't have the answer. We have the resource.
We had a resource, because
Doc,
sometimes it's okay not to know,
yeah, it is.
Mhm.
And
but
tell you,
but okay to go and find out. I don't know right now, but we about to figure this out.
yes, stop leaving them with the unknown.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
So, Doc, you got anything before we shut this down?
No, that's pretty much it. I think we covered a lot.
Yes, we did. This is a great show. Somebody give me a song to close out with. Nobody
Can
said.
I just throw this in real quick in
Yeah.
case anybody's interested? Tiona.net is my site. tiona.net. If you want to check out my books, you can go there. I'm also going to be uploading artwork. I just started doing artwork.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And listen, I'm telling y'all, Miss Tiana, and I'm gonna start calling her Miss Tiana Brown Smith because Smith.
yes.
She is
Yeah.
married. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Chase. I'm sorry. I'm looking like, wait, no. That was
Mhm.
her name in high school. Her married name
Right.
is. I apologize. But absolutely, she does great artwork. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So
You
yeah,
are
just trying
amazing
to be creative, and just, it's crazy because the more you support me, the more I keep giving these books away to these kids because I need them
to
to
know.
have that. It's
Yes.
not, you don't,
Right.
if they can't pay for it, I don't care. I need them to be able to get this information. I need them to know. And I'll tell people this too before we go. This is not just about children. This book is 14 stories, men,
Hmm.
seniors.
Hmm.
It
Come on.
covers if you didn't know was it sexual abuse, it talks about it. It talks about people being recorded without their permission. It talks from even the voice of a predator and
Mm.
what he's looking for. So this is some good information that we need. So please, if you don't mind, tiana.net, get you a book,
I'm gonna put it right
buy one for some kids, please,
on Amazon.
on Amazon or
Okay.
on my own site, because
Yes,
Amazon be taking our money.
yes, and I'm coming. And that's why I was trying to ask, where do I go to make sure you get the money?
Right.
So now I know I'm going to Tiana.net and actually,
Yes.
because she gave me two. I got
Yes, I did.
two. I got two, and I'll pay for another one. Let me know. Send us an email if you want one of these books. And I like Miss Anisha Benelli. We supposed to be doing her book too. So listen, the information is here, and y'all, everybody needs to know these are great stories. These are beautiful women with beautiful stories, beautiful testimonies that's going through trauma and healing. We are not angry black women. We are black women in healing.
Yes.
That's what we doing. Yes, man. Yeah, yeah. It's so dope. Like he is like her number. I know he her number one fan.
He trying to get some.
I know that's right. What works, Mr. Chase?
Right. Keep
Take
it
your thing.
coming.
Take some trips, fellas, so y'all won't have to pack your stuff. Get out. Y'all beyond taking a damn nap. Y'all got to get out.
Right.
To play. Act like it's not important, right, Doc? They gonna act like they ain't an important part of the relationship.
Hey, there's it. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Mhm.
If it's the
Mhm.
only part of your relationship, that's the problem. But it is
Right.
a valuable point.
Yes, it is.
It's intimacy. Y'all
Yes.
using the F word.
Hmm.
Intimate. You feel me? Like stop bang bang here, buddy. Or as the old people
Yes.
say, doing the huckabuck backwards. Look, he is your husband. Is so awesome. It's so funny. But yes, guys, again, check out Miss Tiana Brown Smith.
Mhm.
Okay, at Tiana.net for her book. Please don't touch me there. Ain't no sunshine. She does plays. She is a mother, a wife. As she told y'all, she does community work. She has a nonprofit. Tiana, if you can inbox me your information and I'll put
Okay.
it on the Philly Unfiltered page.
Awesome.
So, guys, as we always do, we always put our guest information on the page if y'all need to find out what they doing, where they at. So go check that out. We working on that website, y'all.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
once we do that, y'all can just go to the website and do that. So again, y'all know where to find her. Thank y'all for joining us for another episode. I'm looking back and forth because I'm trying to find a good song
Mhm.
with I can't really think of anything because I don't think y'all like my stuff. So Doc, what you got? Doc, you always got something good. Doc.
It's just so many. I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's we covered a lot. There's a whole number of songs that we could have at this point in time, but I think the information that she shared with us, hopefully people will take it and run with it. Hopefully, it will help not only themselves, but people that they know and interact with as well. To start that dialogue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's change the narrative, black people. We got to do better. If we know better,
Mhm.
we will do better. So, y'all, I'm gonna put this little thing up, and as we exit out, I'm gonna play a song that was requested by another one of our guests, and it's called Pass the Peas. So, if y'all thinking about Martin episode, that's why I love it so much. Pass the peas, like we used to do. Pass the peas. Okay. Good night, y'all. Hope y'all were inspired. So, this is our song. We will catch y'all next Tuesday. Okay, here we go with the commercials. Doc, they always got me. Three, two, one, song. Good night, y'all.
Why do you like soul food? Because it makes me happy.